Thank you for clicking on my live stream. Hopefully, let me know if you can hear okay, if the volume's good. And I was fumbling around for a specific photograph. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my setup. Yeah, so I was looking for a specific photograph that I wanted to paint for you today. But I found these two, which I think are equally just as good. This one I took in North Wales, and you can see videos of me painting this sort of area. Lots of cottages, and it's a place called Dyserth. And then this one is another one just near where I live. Usually I drive past this place, and it was only when I was walking past this that I actually noticed this really nice cottage. So I'm not sure which one I should paint. Let me know in the comments if you do have a preference. Which one would you like to see me paint? I'm thinking of whichever one I do on this side of the paper, I'll do the other one maybe on the other side. So, and I was thinking maybe I could tackle them both, but I don't want to go too long in this live stream, take too much of your time. But I'm still a bit undecided. Seriously, what a predicament. The photo that I was going to do, I wanted to do sort of a bit of a thumbnail sketch and do that, maybe a couple of thumbnail sketches, so maybe the next live stream. And I think I'm going to go for this one. Hopefully you like this image. It's going to be quite oh I don't know what happened then. I think it's going to be quite interesting, so let me see. It could be quite it could be deemed as quite difficult. There is a few details on this one, but when you break it down and if you look at the scene and observe, there's not really too much as in detail. So I think I'm going to go for this one, and hopefully I can do it some justice. So with my sketchbook, it is a really good idea if you are into your sketchbooks to get some of these clips just to clip your paper down, especially if you're painting outdoors. It stops your paper blowing all over the place. And if you're indoors, obviously once you start applying the water, the wet medium, you can get sort of buckling, so it just could affect the painting. So let me just make sure that you can see, and do let me know if you can hear. Give me a like if you're new here, or if you're returning and you like this video, then please do let me know in the comment section. So it is a bit difficult because it's quite small, the the actual paper that I'm going to be painting on. So for me, it's quite difficult to get, and I'm not going to include everything on this one. I'm going to probably include the wall, but that's as far as it is. Quite a lot of road on this scene, and so I'm not going to include that. But yeah, I'll probably just get to the wall. I'm going to get the cottage in and the trees and all that sort of thing. And I'm thinking maybe ink and bits of maybe a splash of colour. I don't know. We'll see how we get on. I'll know as I start doing it. Just let the watercolour do the painting, just sort of dictate what's going to be on this. So it is a bit difficult. I'm not going to copy the image exactly. I just want this as loose as I can, I suppose, and just marking out where these trees are. Like I said, it's not going to be exact, and I'm not bothered about that. I just want a nice little sketchbook entry. I do really enjoy using my sketchbooks, and I'm just probably just over halfway to filling this one, so that's quite exciting. I do like finishing sketchbooks, and I've got a couple more that I've recently bought which I haven't even opened yet. They're all sealed up, and I'm looking forward to getting on, and that's my motivation, to finish this one and so I can check the other two out. I do want to do some more drawing for my channel, and so I think one of them is going to be better for that. It's a cartridge paper sketchbook, so it's going to allow me to do some more sketches, and that's something I really want to get into, just improve my sketches, and it's something different as well for my channel, so I will be doing some more of that, just to improve. Obviously, if you can draw, then that's the foundation of painting. Now you do have this roof coming through. It always gets a little bit confusing. Oh, there's 3 trees there. I was looking at, it's hard sometimes when you're looking at the trees to know the gaps from the trees, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's it, because this tree is sort of hid behind the other one. So let me just focus on that a second, and I do apologize if my hand's in the way and you can't see. I'm just getting this important part of the painting down so that we can get on with it, and I will more than likely, I'm thinking, include some pen as well. So we're not after exact with this, just a loose, and it might take a little, the most time is probably going to be this little sketching part, because I want things to be okay, and sometimes you don't have to rush with this part. It's quite important, so you want to get the things down, the information down on the paper first, so you know where you're going with the medium. And there's another bit of a tree coming out here. So I mean, I'm not fitting all this on anyway. Like I said, it is quite difficult to do for me anyway. You might not have such difficulty getting your whole sketch on the paper, but for me, when you're working in a small space, it just gets a little bit, for me, a bit tricky, a bit difficult. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and just have fun, and it don't really matter what happens and what I get. I'm just going to enjoy this little sketch, and appreciate you coming on. Hi Hassan, welcome back. I know I've seen you on my lives before. Hi Aaron, nice to meet you. Jack Barker, hi, welcome, thank you for joining, and don't forget to tap that like. I would like to get as many likes as I can. It just helps to push this video out, this live, to more people, so that more people can join. It's quite difficult to gauge the best time to get people on, or maybe just people don't click on. I don't know, but sometimes it's a bit of a lonely journey doing these lives, and obviously with the different time zones, a lot of my friends and followers, people who support my channel, a lot of them are from the States as well, so it can be difficult to get those views, people joining. So I do appreciate you being here. It's really nice to have you on board. Whereabouts is everyone from? Let me know in the comment section. And you don't have to. It's quite difficult because my knee's in the way. But I'm just getting this little sort of pillar. I don't know. It's a drive going into the cottage. So I'm gonna try and get that right. Like I said, this is fairly important, this stage. If you paint, then you know what I'm talking about, to get everything just mapped out, really. I'm just using the pencil as guidelines, and I can always compromise. Like I said, I'm not doing things exact, so it doesn't really matter too much. Just have fun when you're painting, and that's the main thing. As long as you get the essence of the painting, and you can always adjust things as you evolve in the painting. So you got this bit of a structure coming. See, it's completely different to the reference, but it doesn't matter too much. They're just in the. So yeah, I haven't got the best. It's not the best. I'm sat down. For those of you who've been here before, I do like to paint standing usually. I find it easier to move and be free with my hands and arms, and sort of get those big lines, the movement of the painting sort of in. And I can compromise with these, I don't know what you'd call them, this bit of wall, and let's get a few of those details. So it doesn't look like anything at the moment, but if you stick with me, watch as much as you can. I do appreciate that. Obviously, the longer you watch, the better it is for me. So I really do appreciate you just sticking with me and watching the painting develop, because this is the sort of ugly. It's getting into the ugly stage, which is a thing in watercolour, or maybe any painting. Just when you're starting out and things don't look quite right. This is a really condensed version of this reference, but yeah, it doesn't matter too much. And if it goes completely the wrong way, then we can turn it into one of those whimsical paintings, which is quite fun to do. So there we go. Yeah, it's just difficult to work on a smaller scale. Let me know if you find it difficult as well. It's a little bit of a challenge in itself, I think. But I'd love to know your thoughts. If you're the same, I'm sure I'm not the only one that finds this, working on this scale, difficult. And okay, so let me see. Okay, I'm gonna go in with pen now. So just going over the pencil sketch, and we'll take it from there. And then once I'm happy with that, I can start applying some colour. So I was really inspired by the art exhibition that I went to last week. If you've not had a chance to see that video yet, it's my latest video here on my channel. You can check that out, walking around and seeing all these really nice paintings and different artists from here in the UK. And just had a really nice time, a really nice day. We started off as we got in Manchester, and I don't like driving to Manchester. I do know a place it's expensive parking in the city centre, but I do know a place that I can park for free, which is a residential area, but it's a bit of a walk to anything in the centre. So we got the tram, which I really don't mind doing. It's quite nice just to leave the car, get on the tram and just sort of switch off, because I'm the only driver in my household. So it gives me a little break as well. So I do enjoy that. So let's just, you see, drawing with a pen on these watercolor paper can be quite tricky because of the texture. It's you're drawing on bumpy surface, but yeah, it doesn't. It'll all come together if you just keep on watching. Hopefully. But at least I know I can get something quite interesting, and that's all it's about. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get something nice and interesting for. Oh, and I dropped my pen, threw my pen on the floor. Yeah, just as long as you get something nice and interesting and enjoy doing, then that's half the battle to painting. Whichever medium you may use, it's just nice to express yourself and do these little fun little paintings. And yeah, it doesn't have to be serious unless you're doing a commission, which is a different thing. And see, I'm not fussed about straight lines and things like that. It just is what it is, and I'm happy to just go in and do this. So it's definitely not going to be perfect. Already it's not, so I'm just going to keep going and hopefully get something interesting, like I said. And there's another tree here. I'll get confused, I think, shortly with the tree. That was quite thick, that trunk. But anyway. Okay, so let me just do this bit of the wall area. I don't know what you call it, pillars. I don't know what you'd call them. Just structures. And this one comes right down actually, so I nearly missed that. That's one thing. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you can sort of miss a detail or something like that, and you don't want to be doing that. So let me just move the camera. Yep. Okay, and I think I'll start with some. Now I'm going to go in with a few more pen details, and these are the leaves from this tree, and I'm not doing anything spectacular, just adding these little squiggles. You can see that it's quite a technical term for it, squiggles. Using the pen just to get some of those leaves in the scene, the shrubbery from the trees. So I'm not fussed about being realistic at all. Just getting some marks and making textures and all this sort of thing. So there we go. And it will make sense as we progress, he says. Famous last words. But yeah, and you don't have to do all of the trees and branches and squiggles of the foliage, anything like that. Let's see. Oh, yes. Right, okay. So on my channel, I do like to do lots of beginner-friendly tutorials. So if you do happen to come across this one and watch this one, you can check out my channel for other paintings, which can be quite useful. Tips on painting skies and buildings and all that sort of thing, which I really do enjoy painting, and yeah, so you're welcome to check out the rest of my videos. Oh yeah, this is my 500th video, by the way, so I'm quite proud of that. It's you can't control a lot of things here on YouTube, but what you can control is the videos that you put out and the volume of videos. So I'm quite happy with that, quite proud. It's been quite some journey, and I'm really happy to be my 500th video. It's almost hard to say as well. Almost I want to say 50th, but 500, it's quite a lot, I suppose. It's definitely an achievement, I feel. And I've not done this doorway, so I'm gonna bring the doorway like so, and there's a window here which I can include. Yep, there we go. So it really isn't in the places that they are on the photograph reference, and it just is what it is. Sometimes it's difficult to get things right if you want something more realistic or representing the reference that you may go for. But yeah, just have fun with it. And this is just, and there's some shrubbery here, so let me scribble that in so you can see there's a little porch for the front door, and then this shrubbery that goes behind the trees. And let me see, yep, it's kind of difficult to make out sometimes the gaps, and if it helps, you could always shade in, just put a little squiggle and scribbles on the trees so you don't sort of use the gaps for the trees. This is a gap, so it's a bit more readable now because I've put this in, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. I know this is a tree, this is a tree, and this is a tree, so it does make things a little bit easier. And you just got to find something that sort of helps, and if it's something like a few trees, then you can always pop something in that's going to help you determine which is the trees and which are the gaps. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this so far. Let me this is the sort of roof. It drops down, so there's two levels to this, and there's a little bit of the roof here, and there is a window above this window, so I'm going to make it maybe a little bit smaller because of the size. Like I said, it's just a challenge for me to get painting on such a small scale. Although if you are a beginner, I was recommended when I first started to get a sketchbook, work small first, and then when you get used to the pen and painting, you can graduate to bigger size paper, just so you can control the water and the pigment, that sort of thing. Just keep it all sort of sensibly small. And yeah, I'm gonna get, yeah, right, I think I need to adjust some of my setup so that I can reach easier. The pens might be done for now. Oop. The pens might be done for now, so I'm just gonna grab my paints now. So I'm just gonna start with the green, the foliage. So we've got a lot of green on this, and this is a really nice palette, by the way. Look, I can take off this lid and use this as a portable palette, and I do have some colours already in there, you can see. So I'm just going to grab some of the green, take it off, and I don't ever clean my palette, which can be quite good because you don't have to mix too much if you have some paint already there. So it can be quite nice, really. Saves messing about. Yeah, maybe I should have painted that roof first. But anyway, so just getting the first wash. So this is so remember that the watercolor's transparent, so you want to get your lighter colors down first, and then you can always add to that. And that's the whole beauty of watercolors. Just add colors on top just to get those darker pigments. I'm gonna grab some of this. I'm gonna change brushes, actually, a smaller brush. I just wanted that so that I can get juicy pigment and quite a bit of it, but just a bit of yellow. And this is, I think this will be a lemon yellow. By the way, this palette is White Nights, which I really do like because it's professional grade and it's really inexpensive here. But I don't know whether you can get it in the US. It's a Russian brand, St. Petersburg, sorry. St. Peter's. I'm still getting used to doing two things at once. My wife thinks I can't multitask, but when I'm painting, I can. So, yeah. So just a bit of yellow here and there, just a nice complement to the green. And just allow those colours to mix. So I'm letting the yellows touch into the green, which is quite nice. I do like that. And maybe we can add a little bit of colour as well. So like I said, I'm not going for exact. I'm not copying or doing the reference exactly. So I'm just going to tap in a little bit of red. So if you want a green to be a bit more muted, then you can try adding a little bit of red, a little bit of blue or brown or whatever it may be, just to dull that colour once you mix them quite well. It does take away the vibrancy, so if you don't want anything too vibrant or bright, then you can mix a little bit of red into it. So there we go. And I think I'm going to mix up, I've already got this colour, so I'm going to use this. It's quite a nice colour, tree colour. So this is probably mostly sap green and then some sort of brown or something added. I don't know, it's just one that's on my palette, so I'm just using what's there. And maybe later on I can mix the darker colours with fresh mix. But let me just add these little bits of trees into the scene. And this tree is behind, so there's a little bit of a difference in tone. It's a bit more subdued and dark, sort of bit of shadow in this because it's a bit set back from the road, this cottage, and because there's quite a lot of trees, this tree in the background is just a little bit darker, so we'll make the most of that as well. We'll include that in this scene, the difference. And then we're just going to come up with this tree and pop in. There we go. And you can always leave little white spaces, a bit of breathing space in your painting. And it just sometimes helps if you do put too much detail in there, or if you're a sucker for messing and fiddling with details, then you can just leave little pockets of white. There's nothing wrong with that. And then I'm going to use the same colour. I said it in my last video, if you mix up a colour or you're using a colour, what you're best off doing is just looking at the scene and using the same colour which you're using wherever it may appear in the scene. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm leaving just little bits, just little pockets of white. Gives it that nice loose feel about it. Let me know in the comment section what you think, as I leave little pockets of breathing space, little pockets of light. And this, I'm going to include this red, this side, there's a red wall. It looks like a newer built part of this wall, so I'm going to include that, and it'll just help it'll just help it to pop a little bit as well. And I do see a bit of green there, so there's some shrubbery, bit of shrubbery here, so let's just include that as well here. And I'm going to go darker as well once I get the main sort of features in. And what I really like about painting buildings is once you start with the windows, once you get the windows in, you'll see things just begin to pop. It's like painting a face without eyes, and then once you add the eyes, it just comes to life, and it gives it that sort of realistic sort of look. So let's just work on these now. So there's like a roller blind or something in this window at the top, so it's rolled halfway up, so I'm including that, and then a little bit of a colour in this window. And I think it'll be good to use pen just to get that tone on these windows. And there's the bit of roof here, and some black, some dark sort of colour to come into the doorway. Oh, there is another window, let me not forget these two. So just a little bit of a window impression there, and then another here, and yeah, so you can see I'm not bothered about going out with the lines at all. It doesn't really matter. It's just I'm having fun with this. So let me see what I need to do. Okay, I think I will grab a pen and start just thinking, do I want my Tombow markers? No, I think I'll grab a 5 now. This is 0.5, so it's a bigger tip, and we can get some of these details. Oh, yeah. No. Right, so I'm just going to... Okay, so you just got to make all these decisions when you're painting. It's all about decision making and problem solving. which I really enjoy with the paints. Not with anything else, but when in painting, it's just it's like a puzzle jigsaw. You're putting pieces down, and the image starts to appear, and that's the happy stage. So I'm just getting this rendering. It's just the they call them eaves, do they? Eaves of the roof. Just getting them down. So there's little lines. I don't know what they are, but some sort of roofing structural thing to keep the roof down. So I'm just including those in this, and that's going to add a nice little. It's going to drag your eye in. I think it's going to give a nice little focal point to this scene. But let me know what you think. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. All your comments are welcome. And if there's any suggestions, anything like that, I'm always up for suggestions. Sorry if you can't see, I'm just going to pop in. Oh, see, it isn't easy to draw sometimes on this paper. You can always use, if you do like using pen and drawing, if you want to include more than that, then maybe you could try hot press paper, which is the smooth. So that's easier to draw on, so you don't have this texture. The hot press is nice and smooth. So I do have some sketchbooks that are a smooth paper, and then you got and then it just becomes a bit difficult with the paint because the paint just sits there on top of the paper. So it's I think that's why I do like sort of cold press. So it's not too rough, but it's got enough texture on there for when you do go in with your paints to be able to get them down quite nice. So it's not the easiest to draw on, but it's better to paint on. So you could bear that in mind if you after trying different papers. Just bear in mind, hot press, hot like an iron, it sort of smooths things out. If you got a bunch of washing that's all creased up, then you get an iron and it makes things nice and smooth and flat, just like the watercolour paper that's smooth or hot pressed. So that's how you can remember that. Obviously rough speaks for itself, and cold press is just made usually on some sort of machinery, and it just gets a texture with it and sizing, which is quite important in watercolour. Sizing of the paper, it's not, especially with sketchbooks, sometimes you may look at a sketchbook and think £90 is not a thick paper, it's not going to be that good, but it's also about the sizing as well, the sizing that's been used on the paper, which makes it more suitable for wet medium. So I'm just drawing in a few little lines. I don't want to paint every brick, just get a few of those little textured details on this wall, which is going to be sufficient to translate into bricks. So you don't have to, I know some people do paint every brick, but it's not usually my thing, so I'm not going to do it on this one. Just going to indicate a couple bricks here and there, and your eye can sort of fill in the rest as you look at it. your eye can interpret that and fill in the blanks. So there's a black. So this is the porchway to the cottage, and you've got a little window, and I'm going to pop the door here, and it'll give a nice contrast against that wall as well. And just a little bit here. Okay, and I'm going to fill in these little bits of the window which are completely black. It's like the windowsill and the window frame, and it just adds a little pop to it as well. So let's pop this one in, and yeah, I'm just going to colour it in with this pen. It's fairly thick with it being 0.5, so I can get a nice covering rather than a thinner one which will take longer. So there we go, and just pop this. You could cross hatch, you could do whatever. I'm just covering, so I'm not really fussed about how I get this ink down. I want it to look sketch, like I've sat there and sketched it, so it can be a little bit rough as well, a little bit scratchy or like so. And I think I'm good to add some more green for the trees. So let me go in, and I'm going to mix up a little bit more dark green now. I'm not a fan of this green that I have in this. You see that colour? It's not realistic looking, but it is dark, so I can change that by adding some cobalt blue. Let's get some more water on there. I don't want this paint to be too thin or too much water, because I'm going into glaze now, so I'm going over the paint that's already there. So I want a little bit of a thicker consistency now. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So and I always find trees interesting. When you get those different colours, it always gives a little bit of dimension to the trees and interest, which is important. I'm not going to pop this colour everywhere because, like I said, it's not quite the green that I'm after, and it looks like a Christmas tree green, so it's not realistic in any way. So I'm not going to use too much of it. I'm going to use it sparingly. And now, in order to make this green more of a tree green, more of a natural green, a bit of yellow ochre, and it will sort of mute that colour. There we go, that's a bit better, and just pop this here and there. So I still want to keep some of that yellow, keep that in the sort of background, and you can it really doesn't matter. This is like an illustration type painting, so not after perfection at all. And just pop in some of that really nice green here and there, and there's some more bits of plants or shrubbery growing in the garden to this little cottage, which is really quite nice. And I'm just going to add some of that green to this inside. And this part is filled with the shrubbery and trees, so I'm just gonna get the texture by just dancing my brush around on the surface of the paper, and when the paint starts to disappear at the brush, then you can use the dry brush, which you can see. So it's that texture of the paper, this is where that comes in nice and handy. So it's breaking the paint as I do it. As the paint dries, it just breaks on the paper, so then you do have that nice texture, which is really nice to use in if you've got water in your scene. So it's good for that. And I'm gonna paint in the roof now, and that's somewhat, it's a bit of a browny colour but a bit light. So I've got a little bit of colour here. I can see a little bit yellow ochre here in the corner with the brown, so that's going to do for this colour. And then it's not going to disturb the paint too much, I don't think. That's already down there because it's beginning to dry. So just add that. And like I said, I'm not going everywhere. I'll just get bits of it here and there. And then I've got this wall, so I do want a nice orange for this. So I'm going to mix that. So I've got yellow ochre. And I'm going to pop in a little bit of that red. So it is, I don't know whether to say it's more red than yellow, sort of in between. So you want to mix up equal parts red, equal part yellow. I do have an orange, but I like to mix the orange. It's an easy colour to mix, so that's why I'm gonna go in with that. And there we go. And let me see. I can just keep going in with some of these green foliage. So I'm going to mix a green now. Just a bit more yellow ochre to that Christmas tree green. Sorry if you can see. Just a bit more yellow ochre. And it gives a much nicer natural tree sort of colour. So it's quite nice. I'm just adding that here and there. I don't want it everywhere, but it gives a nice feel to the tree. And just bits of it here and there in this area as well. So I'm going to have a nice little border as well because I've got the tape on my sketchbook. It really looks quite nice when you have a border, a clean border, almost like a frame in the sketchbook. It looks quite nice. So you'll see what I mean if you watch to the end. That's the last thing that I do, is just remove the tape and just the big reveal showing the painting underneath. So if you want to get some of the corners quite dark, and that'll really make things pop. So if you keep watching, you're going to see that, and let me know if you find it quite nice. It's one of my favourite parts of painting. And just a bit of straight yellow ochre, just to add different colours and interest in the trees. And let me see, I want some, this will just be a bit of, I think this is Indian yellow actually, or cad yellow. It's not quite lemon. Just add a few little things going on in here, and it just gives a little bit of interest into the scene. And I wasn't going to do the road, but we do have a bit of road showing, and I think by doing the road it's going to ground this scene, and you know, it's not like a cottage floating in the middle of nowhere. So I'm just gonna mix some that brown and this blue, give me a nice purpley sort of colour. You see that? That's like a tarmac sort of colour. And this will make the difference, I think, in this painting. It'll help things to really sort of stand out, and it'll ground the painting. Like I said, so it's not a floating building, which would look quite funny. And I think there we go. I think I'll use some of this actually in the windows. And you do get some reflections, so if you don't cover the whole window, it's fine. It's good to get little different sort of accents of colour in your windows, just to give that bit of interest as well. And you can see that sort of thing. In fact, I'm going to cover some of that window. Oh, there's a window here which I've neglected, so I'll pull that down. And oh, this window here. See how easy it is to forget things, which I a lot of times do. And I think I just need to add some details to the trees now, the tree trunks, sorry. And I'm going to grab a smaller brush for that. And just this little brown mix here. As the paint's dried, this is going to help to get a little bit of tone in there, and it's not a lot of water, so I'm going to get some broken texture, which is perfect. That's what I want for these trees, just a little bit of texture and detail. And then this one, there's a bit of a cast shadow on this side, which is quite nice. And if you use the side of the brush, the belly of the brush, it gives you that nice texture, which is perfect. That's what I want. And let's just add a few little bits of detail to this tree, some darker elements there, and so, and I'm going to do the same again for this bit of wall. Use the side of the brush just to get, and it's dry, you can hear it, like I'm rolling my brush in my hand to get that little bit of paint off, and it's going to break and give me some texture, and that's what I'm after. And you can do little bits on these posts as well, give it a little bit of texture going on. And I think we're about done. I was expecting this to go on a bit longer, but let me just, I'm going to add a little bit more dark. I don't know what colour this is, some sort of grey. Okay, that's perfect. Into that road mix. And I'm just gonna pop this in for the background tree. And if it's too dark, you can always take bits out. I do have my tissue, which is handy to keep, just to blot out, and you can get some texture as well by doing that, so that's quite handy. It's dried already. Wow, That was quick. And then just a few little subtle textures on this tree as well. And you can see it's going to help the tree move behind this post and give it some (3D)-ness, if that's a word, I don't know. 3D sort of look, and then just with the side of my brush again, and it's dry, just to get some of that detail. And there we go. I think I'm going to leave it there because it will start looking a bit too busy. And I'm going to remove the tape. Oh, take the clip off first. So I hope you like this one. It's just a fun little sketch, a fun little almost illustration of a sketch, and just being careful with the tape. I know I've ripped paper sometimes when removing the tape, which can completely destroy your painting. So if you pull it sort of to an angle like that away from the painting, and I think that's about it. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for those likes and comments, shares, all that sort of thing. But there we go. There's my interpretation of this wonderful little cottage here nearby where I live. And you can see I'm not fussed about detail. I don't want everything perfect by any means. It is what it is, and I think I'm gonna add, let me just add a few little, okay, so there's a top of that wall running down, so there's a little bit of a shadow, and just a few little details, and that's probably finished. So there we go. Hopefully you like this one. Let me know what you think, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. You can watch more videos like this. I do intend probably on doing another live stream next Tuesday, but at a later time. But I will leave that in the comments or in the post. I've just seen something, so let me just add that bottom of the roof is pens let me down now. But yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.